Pose with the fans. Pose with the pose with the pose with the fans. Pose with the pose with the pose with the fans. Pose with the fans. Pose with the fans. Pose with the pose with the fans.
Arthur Conan Doyle was born in Scotland in 1859. He's most famous for his stories about Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes was a very good detective, and Conan Doyle's stories about him were exciting, mysterious, and full of adventure. Sherlock Holmes solved crimes with the help of his friend Dr. Watson.
Welcome to Victorian London, an era of elegance, progress, inequality, and secret. Today, we will explore this era through legendary detective Sherlock Holmes.
More than a century after first emerging into the fog-bound, gaslit streets of Victorian London, Sherlock Holmes is universally recognizable. Even his wardrobe and accessories are iconic. The Inverness cape, deerstalker hat, and calabash pipe. And figures such as his best friend and housemate, Dr. Watson, arch-nemesis Moriarty, and housekeeper Mrs. Hudson have become part of the popular consciousness, as have his extraordinary, infallible powers of deduction utilized in the name of the law, his notorious drug use, and his popular catchphrase, "Elementary, my dear Watson." And yet many of these most recognizable features of Holmes don't appear in Arthur Conan Doyle's original stories. Doyle's great detective solves crimes in all sorts of ways, not just using deduction. He speculates and at times even guesses, and regularly makes false assumptions. Furthermore, Mrs. Hudson is barely mentioned. No one says "Elementary, my dear Watson," and the detective and his sidekick live apart for much of the time. Moriarty, the grand villain, only appears in 2 stories. The detective's drug use is infrequent after the first 2 novels, and Holmes is rarely in thrall to the English legal system. He much prefers enacting his own form of natural justice to sticking to the letter of the law. Finally, many of the most iconic elements of the Holmesian legend aren't Doyle's either. The deerstalker cap and cape were first imagined by Sidney Paget, the story's initial illustrator. The curved pipe was chosen by American actor William Gillette so that audiences could more clearly see his face on stage. And the phrase "Elementary, my dear Watson" was coined by author and humorist P.G. Wodehouse. So who exactly is Sherlock Holmes? Who's the real great detective, and where do we find him? Purists might answer that the original Sherlock, inspired by Arthur Conan Doyle's university mentor, Dr. Joseph Bell, is the real one. But the fact remains that that version of Sherlock has been largely eclipsed by the sheer volume of interpretation, leaving Doyle's detective largely unrecognizable. So there's another, more complex, but perhaps more satisfying answer to the question. But to get there, we must first consider the vast body of interpretations of the great detective. Since Conan Doyle's first story in 1887, there have been thousands of adaptations of Holmes, making him perhaps the most adapted fictional character in the world. That process began with Victorian stage adaptations and accelerated with the emergence of film. There were more than 100 film adaptations of Holmes in the first 2 decades of the 20th century alone, and since then, there have been many thousands more in print and on film, television, stage, and radio. Holmes has been reinterpreted by people everywhere, in remarkably different and often contradictory ways. These adaptations demonstrate both Holmes's popularity and his malleability. For instance, He featured in a number of Allied anti-Nazi propaganda films during World War II, and both Winston Churchill and Franklin Delano Roosevelt were avid enthusiasts, the latter even joining the Baker Street Irregulars, a Holmesian appreciation society, and nicknaming one Secret Service hideout Baker Street. And yet, at the very same time, Holmes also appeared in various German-language film adaptations, some of which were said to have been much-loved favorites of Adolf Hitler. So let's return to our question. Would the real Sherlock Holmes please stand up? The truth is that this world of adaptation has made him into a palimpsest. Sherlock is a cultural text, repeatedly altered over time as each new interpretation becomes superimposed over those that precede it. This means that Sherlock continually evolves, embodying ideas and values often far removed from those found in Conan Doyle. And after each particular story ends, Sherlock rises again, a little changed perhaps, with a new face and fresh mannerisms or turns of phrase, but still essentially Sherlock, our Sherlock.
Every history reveals more than the crime. It reveals something true.
Let us uncover the good, the bad, and the ugly of Victorian society.
The Victorian era lasted from 1837 to 1901. It was a time of rapid change. These are three characteristics of this era. Factories, machines, and railways transformed cities. Technology grew fast, but so did pollution, crowding, and labor exploitation. Rich families live in comfort, while the poor live in sorrow. Your class determines everything: your job, your home, even your survival. People love to appear proper and polite, but behind every closed door, crime, abuse, poverty, and discrimination were everywhere.
I am Sherlock Holmes, created in 1887 by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, became the world's most famous detective.
Observation, deduction, logic, these are his tools.
Forensics, fingerprinting, chemistry, and typewritten letter science help solve crimes.
People love reading. Newspaper and magazine became popular. Sherlock Holmes became a cultural phenomenon.
This belonged to a man who worked near the river. The smoke scene reveals his workplace, and this shows that the man worked heavy labor.
He believed in rational thinking and order. Sherlock represented societies for the truth.
Crime rates were extremely high. Robbery, murder, and human trafficking.
We live in cramped, dirty room. Disease spread easily. Children work long for little payment. Scotland Yard tried, but they lacked scientific method. That is why they often needed me.
work for long hours, earn less, but we have to face the harassment. Many had no choice but to enter the dangerous work.
You look suspicious. People like you for trouble.
I didn't do anything, but no one listened to me because I'm poor. He looked perfect to others, but at home he was violent. In Victorian era, women had almost no legal protection.
The darkest truths are often found in the quietest home.
Sherlock Holmes is just not entertainment. It is a reflection of society problem.
The stories highlight class inequality, corruption, and injustice.
They show the real struggle of the lower class Victorians.
And Sherlock represents logic, fairness, and the hope for justice.
This story teaches us to question, observe, and seek the truth.
Sherlock Holmes never said the phrase, "Elementary, my dear Watson." Movies invented it.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle tried to kill Holmes in 1893, but fans protested so strongly that he survived the character.
Victorian London wasn't foggy because of the weather. It was pollution that come from coal factories.
Holmes was inspired by a real doctor, Dr. Joseph Bell.
Is more than just a detective.
He is the voice of the oppressed.
A reflection of Victorians' hopes and fear.
And a reminder of society's hidden problem.
The Victorian era shaped who Holmes became.
And remember, the truth is rarely pure and never simple. Thank you for watching my story.